So today we're looking at solving a system using a matrix. So we're going to, on our notes, put solving systems of equations using a matrix. So first we kind of have to know what a matrix is. I'm going to write down a system that we're going to use, and I'll show you how we build a matrix and then show you a little bit of information about it. The first system that we're going to look at is 5x minus 3y equals negative 4, and x plus y equals negative 4. I need to make sure that both of my equations are in standard form. The cool thing about using this is if they're a little off from standard form, it's okay. They still have to be in the ax plus by equals c form, but it's okay if a is negative, and it's also okay if these are fractions or whole numbers or decimals, any of the above. But they do still have to be where we have our x's and our y's on the same side of the equal sign. Alright, so both of these are in standard form. What we're going to do is we're going to create some little brackets, and then we're going to take the coefficients of each one of these numbers. So across the top, I would have 5, negative 3, negative 4. Then on bottom I would have 1, 1, negative 4. Now remember, these numbers in front of the letters are called coefficients. We took the coefficients and wrote over here. Notice there are no x's, no y's, nothing weird to put in our calculator, just numbers. All matrices that we look at are going to have a size. Their size depends on how many rows they have. This one has 2 rows. And how many columns they have. This one has 3. So this matrix has a size that is a 2 by 3. The 2 is for the number of rows, and the 3 is for the number of columns. For some things, the size has to be exactly the same, like when we're adding 2 matrices together or when we're subtracting 2 matrices. Other times, the size doesn't have to be the same, but there do have to be special requirements. We'll talk more about that later. What we want to discuss right now is kind of how the process works to put it in our calculator. And then when we get stuff in our calculator, we're going to talk about what the answer means. The thing I want to point out to you before we start that is, notice the numbers that we used for the 5 and the 1. Those are both part of the x column. The numbers negative 3 and y that we used, those are both part of the y column. And the other numbers come after the equal sign. So I would put an equal sign and there would be some number over here. We'll talk about why that format is like it is when we start trying to read our answer. In our process, what we're going to do is kind of divide it up into 3 little processes. So I'm going to jot those down, and we'll kind of jot down some of the notes as we go. Give myself a place to put 3 processes. The first part of the process is just entering our information into our calculator. The second part of the process is picking the math operation we want to use. And the third part of the process is telling our calculator which matrix we want to use. On our calculator, when we enter our information, we would be at the regular screen. Hopefully this shows up. When we first turn our calculator on, we would clear. We would be at this regular blank screen. There's a button which has an x to the negative 1. Right above that in blue, you see the word matrix. So to be able to use this matrix button, we have to hit second and then the x to the negative 1 button. So I'm going to do that. X, and matrix. When I do that, I have three options across the top: name, math, and edit. So, for my entering information, I'm going to hit second matrix, so I get to those three options. And then the one that I want is to edit so that I can enter my information. So I'm going to use my arrow over button to select edit. I'm going to arrow over twice, and now I'm on the edit screen. You'll notice I've used this first one before because it has a size out beside it. And since that's the size that we're picking for our matrix, we're going to go ahead and choose that one. We can either hit 1 or we can hit our enter button to select it. Up at the top, the first thing it asks us to enter is our size. If I had entered a 4 by 1, you'll notice it would have given me 4 rows and 1 column. If I had entered a 4 by 3, it would have given me 4 rows and 3 columns. If I had entered something like a 4 by 5, it can't list all of them at the same time, but because these little blanks are over here, it shows us that we can arrow over to continue going over to add more information. Ours is just a 2 by 3, so I'm going to go back up and change it to 2 by 3. Gives us an appropriate number of places to put things. When you enter your information, you're going to enter them going across. Now, just for a second, I'm going to take a moment and update my notes. So here we go. I went to second matrix. I went over to edit. I chose option number 1, which was the A matrix. Then I'm going to enter my size, which for us was a 2 by 3. Next, all I'm going to do is enter my information. So for us, those numbers were 5, and then we'll hit enter. -3, make sure when you're using -3 you use the negative button on your calculator. So -3, enter. -4, enter. 1, enter. 1, enter. -4, enter. Always double check to make sure that you have the right numbers. 5, -3, -4, 1, 1, -4. Once you have all the correct numbers, go ahead and quit out of your matrix. This would finish part 1.